Hello everyone, it's Dio from Firm Fair Gaming, bringing you another World of Warcraft video.
Welcome to another video in our weekly Mythic Plus series. So this week of August 12th, it is not going to be a fun week. It's Tyrannical, it's Spiteful, and it's Necrotic. Not a very fun week for everybody involved. So basically, Spiteful, for those of us that forget, is when you kill a non-boss enemy, it turns into a shade that will pick a random party member, except for the tank, and follow them around and try to punch them, and it deals a lot of damage if it actually hits a party member. Additionally, it is also necrotic, so all enemies' melee attacks put a stacking buff on the tank, or whoever has aggro, whoever gets hit, and it makes them take less and less healing. So basically, it's going to be a kite week for both DPS, healers, and tanks. It's not a very fun push week. This is one of the worst affixes that you could have, and it's pretty painful. So let's cover how it's going to affect everybody. So as mentioned, for the Spiteful, the shades do not target the tanks, so they can't be taunted. All you can do is CC them by stuns or slowing them or killing them. For every second that goes by that the shade is alive, they do lose some health. So technically, after you're done a big pull and there's a bunch of shades up, you can just run away. You won't be able to mount because you'll be in combat, but you can just kite them and run away, and they will eventually just disappear. Or you can just DPS them down. But pretty much you want to just avoid them at the end of a pull and move on to the next pull if possible. The only time it really becomes a big deal is when you're near the platforms in Theater of Pain, or when you got to get through the maze and miss. You do have to kill them in order to progress through. But there is a trick if you're standing by in the platform in Theater of Pain, by the exit, you can click it before the shades spawn, and then you can actually take off before it actually puts you in combat. But anyways, for Necrotic, for tanks, 30 stacks is about the maximum that you would want to have. Even that is getting pretty dicey. Basically, you lose, I believe it's 2% healing per stack. So like around 40 to 50, you're unhealable because it just isn't worth the healers. Like, you just wouldn't be getting any healing. So generally speaking, the magic number is around 30. Once you hit 30, you just start kiting. So keep in mind, utilize the range aggro. You don't actually have to be on top of everything all the time. As long as you have aggro, you can kite, just run away, wait for your stacks to drop, and then come back in. But also keep in mind that just because your stacks drop doesn't necessarily mean you'll be at max health. Give your healer some time to top you back up. As long as you have aggro, it really isn't that big of a deal if you're standing at range. For healers, basically for the Spiteful, you want to keep your eye out for the shades, DBM, as well as there's a couple other weak auras and stuff that will indicate whether you're targeted by shade. Some of them have a marker where it's like danger and it shows which shades are targeting you. Basically, if it's between getting a heal off or getting hit by the shade, the only reason you would ever stand there and actually get hit by the shade is if the heal was going to prevent somebody from dying. Otherwise, it's better off just to create some distance between you and the shade so you can start healing freely. You're just better off doing that than standing there and getting punched. The shades do hit significantly hard, so it is probable that if you take probably depending on the key level, on the higher keys, 15 pluses, 2 hits might kill you. Maybe 3 at max. On the lower ones, you might be able to get away with a little bit more. But the higher you get, the harder the shades hit. I believe on 20s, the shades hit for around 40k, so just 2 punches from a shade will kill you. For the necrotic, basically what you want to be aware of is just the stack that is on the tank. So you want to be watching their stack so you don't unnecessarily throw out big healing CDs on a tank when they are unhealable. You want to make sure that their stacks are manageable and they'll actually receive that healing. Otherwise, it's just a waste to drop all your big CDs and get nothing for it. So as mentioned previously, 30 is about when a tank should start kiting. You can even start discussing it with your tank prior to the pulls or before starting the dungeon, what their plan is to mitigate the necrotic, so you guys are in sync dealing with that so you don't waste any of your CDs. And then basically the tip is just, watch the watch the stacks, and also when shades are targeting you, you can even mark them. There's macros for that to be able to throw marks on it, and that'll let your DPS know that you need that taken care of so you can resume your duties in healing the group. For DPS, basically the shades are super annoying, so we want to CC them and slow them and kind of kite them away. We do want to prioritize our healers shade first. So we want to make sure if you see the healer running away from it, just help CC it or kill it so they can go back to doing their job. Especially this week, it's going to be tougher on them due to the Necrotic. For yours, range, you can easily just kite it and still attack it. Melee, it is a little bit more challenging, but it is possible to kite it and still stay within range to DPS it down without getting hit yourselves. It is a little bit tougher. If you find that you are getting punched by them, you might be better off to just kite or focus somebody else's shades. So moving on to Necrotic. So basically this doesn't really impact us a whole lot as DPS unless we happen to pull aggro, but basically we want to slow down the mobs or when the tank is kiting, so we want to use our CC, our slows, our stuns while they're doing the kite, especially if they're start doing the panic dance. We all seen the tanks do that where they're just constantly just running and just can't seem to drop the stacks. Do what you can to help slow the trash and give the distance that your tank needs to be able to reset it. It does take a fair while for the stacks to drop, so do what you can. Help CC, help slow them down so that they can get back in there and start doing their tanky things. So, of course, the tip of the week for this week is we want to kite, kite, kite. So it goes for the tanks, for Necrotic, and for everybody else for the Spiteful. So as I mentioned at the start of this video, this is a bit of a painful week. It's a bad combination. It's one of the worst ones that we have for the season. We've been kind of getting some bad luck here with the last couple of weeks have been quite painful. Like last week wasn't that great with the Inspiring. Now I can't even remember the second affix, and I just was even playing this morning. Oh, it was Grievous. Yes, it was a painful week. So this is another bad week, unfortunately. Should still be able to maintain, maybe go up at least one key level if you have a good group and know what you're doing. I'm going to try to, once the WoW's back up, because of course I'm recording this in advance, I'm going to grab my weak ore and some of the macros that I use for having to help mark. So healers, if you want to borrow this to help mark mobs that are targeting you, you can throw up a quick mark using this macro to make it so that the DPS know which one to target down. And also I will also include the weak aura that we will be using, or that we use to show that when you're targeted by shade, that it has the danger written above their head. It also might make a noise, I can't remember which sound effect it has as well, to indicate to you that you're being targeted by a shade. So if you have any questions or comments about this week, or what you think about the affixes, or how the season is going so far, let us know down below. If you need help running any keys or anything like that, let us know. We'd be happy to help you guys out. We're currently doing low 20s ourselves, so we'd be happy to help you guys out as well. As always, we appreciate any likes and subscribes and shares. We love doing these videos for you guys, so we appreciate all that. And of course, you can find us on Twitch. Good luck this week, and may Vault be in your favor.